Hi, everybody. Chris Stokes from Custom Fitness Personal Training Studio, and today we're talking about playing a hunger game to learn whether or not you truly need to eat or you're just emotionally grabbing for food, whether that emotion is from boredom or from fatigue or from stress, sadness, happiness, whatever it may be. So a lot of people struggle with this, and as they start to want to change their body and start to eat better, they're not sure how many times a day to eat. You'll hear different schools of thought depending on what you're looking at, and so, or who you're talking to. So we want to kind of clarify that. So you can eat anywhere from 3 to 5 times a day and be just fine. Some people really feel great with eating snacks in between, but other people feel like it makes them want to graze all day long, that they're just constantly nibbling on things. And then there's those people who, 3 meals a day is great, but, they really aren't hungry, so they're going to eat maybe 2 meals or 1 meal a day. And in all honesty, while that can work well, as it's called intermittent fasting, while that can work well for some people, others can really have some big problems whenever they start to do that. So we want to listen to our body and start to relearn how to hear the signals that it's giving us. All too often, if you think about back whenever you were as babies are born into the world, they're eating every 2 hours. They're constantly letting you know that something's going on. And as you grow, you tend to put off eating, you put off drinking water, you put off all these things because we're busy and we have other things to do. So when we're talking about a hunger game, whenever you sit down and think about it, the truth is that nutrition, while there are certain foundations to follow, really is a form of an experiment with each individual person. And I say that because each person has to take those foundations and then adjust them to make them work for their body. So each person's body is completely unique, anywhere from the foods that we enjoy eating to the way that our body digests those foods. So not everybody can take in the same foods and see the same results from that. So we want to make sure that we're paying attention to, really, are we hungry? Are we not? And that's really the big topic today. So are we hungry? Well, maybe, maybe is one of those answers that if you think that, maybe take a moment to kind of step back and pause, pay attention to your physical cues, see if maybe your stomach's growling or you've got really low energy or you've hit that level of hangry that nobody likes. Really just take time to pause and evaluate if it's a maybe. And then you can take it in one direction or the other. So if from your maybe you go into, well, I'm probably not, then, really kind of hold off until those physical sensations come around. Find something different to do. So that's the hard part, especially in the evening after work. You go home, you've done your normal nightly chores, and all of a sudden you're sitting on the same couch, eating the same snack, watching the same show. Well, if you've taught your body that habit and your brain that habit, then whenever you're trying to not eat, because you know that this is an emotional thing, you're bored, you're going to eat some food, and you sit down on the same couch watching the same show, the brain says, where's my food? That's what I do. So instead, we've got to know that we've got to get up, go to a different room or outside. If it's nice out, go outside, get some sunshine, some fresh air. But if you can distract yourself from that emotional eating, a lot of times that'll help. And so if you can find something different to do during that time other than go to the same spot and do the same thing, then you'll be able to trigger that within your brain so that it says, okay, it's time to do something different, and it'll forget about the other. Doesn't mean that it forgets completely. It still kind of nags at you, especially if it's a sugar craving. That's more of an addiction issue. And so there's some things that we have to kind of do a hard sell on ourselves and just say, that's what I'm not going to do tonight, and I'm going to go do this instead. And believe it or not, over a few days, over a few weeks, the body starts to respond to that and feel pretty good with it. So, after you've stopped on that no side, it's really good to kind of just see what it feels like to be okay with not being hungry. Sometimes we just don't know what else to do. You consider in America, the only way that we know to socialize is either by eating or drinking together. So everybody has to go out and eat or drink to hang out. They don't know what else to do. So it's kind of nice sometimes to just sit down and think, man, I'm not hungry and I can go do something else, and it's okay that I'm not eating. All right, so what do we do if we really are hungry? Well, we've got to be careful there too, especially if you possibly have skipped some meals during the day or should have had a snack and it's been like 7 hours since you ate last. We really need to look into that. So we're listening for those physical sensations again, the stomach growling, the low energy, that hangry feeling, you know what they are. But if we choose to eat, then we want to make sure that obviously we have some nutritious options. We're not just going for the candy bowl or the cracker bowl or whatever we may have sitting there. We want to make sure that there's some nutritious options. And then we want to take time to really eat slowly and savor that food. So a lot of times, especially as we get hungry, think about like say after work, you go home, you're trying to fix dinner, you're stressed out from the day, you've got kids telling you they got to do their homework and they're asking you all these questions and things are going on and you're just in there eating everything in sight, right? So really take the time to savor that food and eat slowly. And what that's going to do is give you time to check in with your body throughout that time. So, by eating slowly, it can be as easy as taking a bite and then putting the food source or your fork down, stepping away, those kinds of things. But you want to really take that time so you can check in with your body and check in and see, am I still hungry? Do I still need more food, or am I satisfied here? So from that point, if you're still hungry, then we just want to continue to eat mindfully, really focusing on what our body is asking for, what our body's needing, rather than just filling it with filler, for lack of a better word. A lot of the foods that we eat, that we call foods, are actually very low in nutrition, and they're more filler than anything. So if we're eating nutritious foods, a lot of times, like if you go home from work and you have a plate of vegetables that have already been cut up, it's a great thing to pull out. Go ahead and snack on some vegetables. But same thing, don't let it be mindless snacking where you're just constantly going in and out. The other thing is that a lot of people will skip a breakfast and they'll go to work and have a bunch of snacks there, and they'll just kind of keep eating, especially at desk jobs. So we want to be sure that if we're doing something like that we pre-package those snacks into a certain size container so that we know that we're only getting one serving. Because honestly, the brain will continue to allow you to eat as long as there is something there, especially if you're in that emotional state. So during that time, if you have a full container of whatever it may be, Cheez-Its or whatever, you're going to be more likely to eat a ton more, or possibly all of them, if they're not prepackaged. So if you know that's a problem for you and you've kind of figured out where those times during the day are that are causing the biggest problem, go ahead and pre-portion those snacks and put them where you can get to them, but just so that you know that each snack is one bag and you're done, or one box and you're done. You want to make sure that you've got those portioned out. So really, this isn't about exact science. Like I said before, this is really more about an experiment. It's a game, because it's about testing your limits and your boundaries of the level of your hunger. And so we want to learn to listen to our body cues and our body signals. A lot of times as we grow, we just completely learn to ignore those. And so we don't ever feel hungry, even though we are. Good case in point is a good friend of mine who, as she starts to eat more regularly and more nutritiously, then her body starts to crave those foods. And so at those times, she starts to get hungry again. Whereas before, she can take spurts of time where she gets off track and she doesn't always eat every meal that she's supposed to, skips a lot of foods and things like that. And so she's always amazed. And I love those phone calls where she calls and says, I'm back on track, and my goodness, I am so hungry. It's my lunchtime and I can't go without lunch now. And that's an awesome thing. That's starting to listen to your body and having your body actually really become the sole determinant of whether or not you're going to eat some food. So throughout this hunger game, the thing to remember is whatever happens, take notice of it and make a mental note, so that way then you can start to apply that into your little owner's manual, if you will, that will help you to live the healthiest life possible. Because again, every body is different, and so we need to be able to create our own little owner's manual of, this is how my body runs best, and these are the things that I need to be doing to help it. So if you would like more help in that realm on nutrition, whether that is in conjunction with training or just on its own, we'd be happy to help you out with that. We set up a consultation, just give you time to kind of talk to us and see if we're the right fit for you. But feel free to give us a call and set up a consultation. It's 806-322-3188, or you can leave a comment below. I also want to let you know that we've got an amazing new program coming out in the next few days. I'll be announcing this, and if you're lucky enough, you might be seeing ads on Facebook already for it, but I'm going to wait for the official announcement for a couple more days. So we're going to be doing something great. It's going to help to really minimize the waistline. It's going to be something that you can do no matter where you're at. So we're just really excited about it. So feel free to give us a call for that consult. Let me know if there's anything else you want to hear about on Facebook, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.